Hello, all. Happy Hump Day. Hope everyone is having a good week so far. Good morning, and good afternoon, of course, to everybody over this side of the pond. Hope you're doing well. Let's see who's joined this morning. We have got Nearsighted Cyclops. Good morning. We have got both Bash Bros, Mark and Chris Persia. Good morning, gentlemen. We've got Ren Zero, Chad Thomas. Good to see you. Let's see who else we got. Snorter Poopers Cuba. Hello, love. Too Much 77. Welcome. Good morning. Pat S. Good to see you. Andrew 46 and 2. Hello. Arwen Avalon, hello, lovely. Good to see you. Good morning. Colin P. Smith, good afternoon as always. Good to see you. Project Storytime, hello. Good morning. D-Bud Martin, good to see you. Good morning. Let's see who else is here. I know I saw Wendology earlier. Good afternoon. Sorry, sweetheart. And Kaylee D, good morning. Great show you did with Loki. Well done, honey. Proud of you. Let's see who else we have with us. God, you guys have been busy in the chat today. Firefly MK1, good to see you. Welcome. Who else has joined the Fixer One? Good to see you. Welcome. Hey, guys. I think that's everyone. Oh, no, I miss Pod Racing Palpatine. Hello, love. Rab Marshall. Hey, good to see you as well. Good morning to Gun Bunny. Hey, good morning, Gun Bunny. Let's see if I missed anybody. I think we've got everybody. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day so far. As you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we're going to have a little chat about the not so great news that we still, no matter how many times we flush, cannot get rid of Alex Kurtzman. Good morning, Phoenix Tangent. Good to see you. Hello. And Psycho Dwarf 9, hello, love. Good to see you as well. Talk about failing upwards, guys. I know a lot of people were kind of excited that his contract was coming to end. We thought that maybe, just maybe, we were going to get rid of him. But no, he is back. I've got a couple of I've got a couple of articles to go through, but I was really, really surprised when I heard the news. I've got to admit, especially in light of what happened with the Clarice TV show that he was co-producer of and co-creator of. It lasted one season and promptly got cancelled. Anybody else that had a season, somebody so high profile with such a, huge fan base as Thomas Harris's work. People love Silence of the Lambs, they love Manhunter, Red Dragon, but nope, this got one season, terrible reviews, and promptly was gotten rid of. But I did find a kind of paragraph that really sums it up. It says, perhaps co-creator Alex Kurtzman felt emboldened by the reception for his clever, character-focused Star Trek series Picard. Yeah, no, not at all. Clever, character-focused Star Trek series Picard? I don't think so. Pretty sure that most of us have watched Picard, and that's probably the furthest from our minds when we think of that show. It goes on to say, unfortunately, the result here is closer to his Hawaii Five-0 reboot, reducing Thomas Harris's still relatively fresh out of the academy FBI agent to a traumatized mess trapped in a recurring serial killer of the week scenario. Clarice wasn't a show that I was interested in. It certainly wasn't one that I was going to watch. But I know a lot of people were very curious about it until they saw the name Kurtzman attached. And then not so much. And good morning, Adega Outlaw. Good to see you. Welcome. Project Storytime says, I saw the first episode of Clarice. It was the dumbest detective show ever made. I can imagine. Yes. And Colin P. Smith, clever, character-focused, Picard. Yep, not words that I would put in a sentence together, but there you have it. Nearsighted Cyclops says I made it through one episode of Picard, barely. I slogged through the first season. Can't say that I'm looking forward to the second season because they killed the character. You know, how can you have a character about Picard when you've killed off your main character? And I know they've brought him back as a robot, but really, who gives a shit? And thank you, Phoenix Tangent. Good morning, love. He sent us a $5 super chat. Thank you, sweetheart. He says, I'm sure we would all love to fail into $150 million. I know I would. I guess I won't buy another thing from CBS/Paramount from now on. They can fail into bankruptcy. Absolutely. Well said. Well said, honey. Let's see. So, the one that I read, I think it was kind of the breaking news, was actually from Deadline. And they kind of bent over backwards to say nice things about Kurtzman. So the article starts off, Alex Kurtzman, the top producer of CBS Studios roster and architect of the studio's Star Trek franchise. Architect, destroyer, you can swap those words in and out, has closed a massive new 9-figure overall deal there for his secret hideout banner. No official terms are being disclosed, but I hear the pact is in the $150 million range, putting Kurtzman at the very top tier of television writer-producers. Yeah, well, he may be at the top tier, but again, writer-producer is stretching it, I think. Franchise killer, I think, would probably be a more apt term for him. It goes on to say the agreement will keep Kurtzman's secret hideout at CBS Studios through to 2026 at least. And this is at least, guys, you know, we're stuck with him now for the next 5 years. It could be extended. There might be a time when we are never rid of him. So it's not good news. Giving the studio exclusive right to the company's projects for all platforms, including a series adaptation of Stephen King's short story. The New York Times at special bargain rates. I don't know that. I've stopped following Stephen King, I've got to admit. Additionally, Kurtzman will remain at the helm of the growing Star Trek franchise for the next 6 years. Heather Caden will continue to lead the Secret Hideout content team, along with SVP Aaron Bayers and Director of Development Robin Johnson. Under the new deal, Secret Hideout will expand its ranks with additional executive hires. I bet they will. This is the second consecutive time CBS Studios has stepped up to re-up Kurtzman with 2 years left on his deal. The prolific writer / producer / director launched Secret Hideout in 2016 with a 4-year overall deal at CBS Studios and Caden and Beers as his top executives. 2 years later, he signed a new 5-year overall deal with the studio. At the time, it was valued at around $25 million. That put him in charge of the expanding Star Trek franchise. Back then, there was one Star Trek series, which was Discovery. Ha! STD. 3 years later, Kurtzman and his team have grown the Star Trek franchise into 5 live-action and animated series for Paramount+. The company also recently produced the Comey Rule, don't know what that is, and the upcoming series The Man Who Fell to Earth, which I completely forgot was on the way out. Rob Marshall's got a great one. He says, tell Seth to cast William Shatner in The Awful. I would love to see that. That would be pretty damn awesome. Colin says, the Secret Hideout can improve its ranks. Someone have a lisp? Quite possibly. Something clearly got lost in translation there. Arwin says, maybe Kurtzman is a robotic clone. Quite possibly. I just think he's an idiot, or he's part of the Illuminati and they just cannot get rid of him for some reason. I think all bets are off at this point. Pod Racing Palpatine, good to see you. It says, are we talking about Kurtzman, the universal dark universe killer? Yes, the very same. Yes, the man that had the reins to what could have been a really good, really interesting reboot for the Universal Monsters, and sank that ship quicker than the Titanic. It was amazing. And that was one that I was looking forward to as well, because I love the Universal Monsters. Mark says, I'll take a job with bad reboot and start the destruction from the inside. I'm beginning to wonder if Kurtzman isn't kind of like an inside agent and he just really wants to take down CBS. But apparently CBS love him, so what the hell do we know? We're just fans. We're just people that, wanted good Trek, that wanted to buy great merchandise, that wanted great shows. Good morning, Darius Munchausen. Good to see you. Hello. To be fair, the Titanic took like 4 hours to sink. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure he could sink a franchise much quicker. And hello, Darth Haster. Good to see you, love. Welcome. So, let's see what else they've got to say. They said, in a quote, they said, extending our valuable partnership with the brilliant, I'm putting that in quotations, they didn't, Alex Kurtzman and Secret Hideout, there has been top priority for CBS and Paramount Plus, said George Cheeks, president and CEO of CBS. George, you're a moron. Alex's vision and leadership of the Star Trek franchise and his ability to create artistic and commercial series across all platforms put him in a special class of creative talent. I'm sorry, guys, I can't read that with a straight face. There is so much ass kissing going on, it's unbelievable. I think he's got something, he's got some insider information on them and they just can't get rid of him. The much higher value of the new 6-year deal for Kurtzman and Secret Hideout than their previous one reflects a far more competitive talent market. Disagree, because we've seen the writers on STD and Picard and Lower Decks. They all suck. Overall, the deal for prolific top showrunners have gone up dramatically in the last few years, driven by streamers' aggressive pursuit of A-list creators. Traditional studios have had to step up to secure their key producers. I don't agree with that because it just seems like at the top it's the same people. There's no fresh talent coming in. This is a prime example. They had the perfect opportunity to say, okay, you gave it a go. You gave us some shows. You know what? I think we're going to move on, bring in some fresh talent, bring in some new voices, bring in some people that actually have respect for Star Trek, for the lore, for what came before it. But no, they're going to stick to their guns and keep with the people that the fans hate. And these new fans that they are so desperate to bring in, they're just not doing it. They're not supporting them the way they thought. Let's see, where did I get to? Which CBS Studios have done with new overall deals for Kurtzman and fellow prolific creators Robert and Michelle King. The pay increase also recognises the success that Kurtzman and Secret Hideout have had at the studio, making this an easy bet. Yeah, I think they're trolling us at this point, guys. Alex and Secret Hideout have been extraordinary partners who, through their prolific output of high-quality shows, have allowed our studio to grow exponentially, said David Staff, president of CBS Studios. Alex's vision and breadth of interest is unmatched, as he and his team have reignited the Star Trek franchise with 5, and counting, brilliantly unique series, while at the same time creating long-running hit series for both network and premium spaces. Lies. All of this is bullshit. Kurtzman's relationship with CBS Studios dates back more than a decade. Yeah, it does. He co-created and executive produced the studio's Hawaii Five-O reboot, which ran on CBS for 10 seasons, which nobody cared about. It may have run for 10 seasons, but it was not popular. Let me jump back and see what else you guys are saying. Phoenix Syndrome, what hit series? Yes, answers on a postcard, please, guys. What hit series? And hello to Mexican Iron Man, Daft Puppy himself. Good morning. He sent us a $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much. And says, bad news is franchises are dying. Good news, you've won today's taco lottery. Yes, you've won your very own Daft Puppy lightsaber self-training home video. Now available in 4K and 3D Blu-ray. You know what? I will take it, most definitely, because that will be far more enjoyable than any crap that Kurtzman is likely to give us in the next 6 years, 5 years, whatever. Thank you very much, Mexican Iron Man. Much appreciated. Phoenix Tangent says maybe Kurtzman knows something about Hollywood getting connected to the guy named Jeff. Indeed, I think that is a definite possible. I've just never known anybody to fail upwards quite as much as Kurtzman does and still be praised for what he does. Psychodrop Alex Kurtzman, whose best rating is somewhere south of meh. Exactly. Arwen says, what I'm hearing from this article is blah, 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 Kurtzman, blah, blah. Exactly. And kiss Kurtzman's ass. They are bending over backwards to try and frame this in a positive light. I don't for 1 minute believe that they actually care about any of the franchises that he's got his sticky fingers on. And they certainly don't care about Star Trek. It's all about, making him look good. And Darth has to thank you, love. Much appreciated. Let me just scroll up and see what that one was. Oops, and it skipped on me. And it's a unicorn. Thank you, honey. Much appreciated. I hope you're having a good day. Let's just get to the end of this ass-kissing article. CBS Studios has been my home for over a decade. Because of the incomparable David Staff always finds a way to demonstrate his decency and creative compassion, not just for the work that we do, but for the work of many who do it, Kurtzman said. In David Nevins, I found a rare breed executive with austere taste and guts to take chances. Well, they sure as hell took a chance on you, Kurtzman, who's encouraged us to create premium streaming and cable that pushes boundaries. And over the last year, I've had the extraordinary privilege of being eyewitness to the steady leadership of George Cheeks, who was brought to CBS. Ass kissing. Oh god, now it talks about Star Trek. The Star Trek universe, built by Kurtzman and Secret Hideout, consists of STD, Picard, Lower Decks, and the upcoming I think it's the cartoon-based one, isn't it, if I remember correctly? Star Trek Prodigy, in partnership with Nickelodeon. And for 2022, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, featuring the characters Pike, Spock, and Number One. In addition, Secret Hideout is in development on a Star Trek project based on Section 31 with Michelle Yeoh attached to star. This Section 31 show keeps rearing its head. I don't think it's ever going to come out. They just keep pushing this idea to see if, it gains any traction with the fans, and nobody wants it. Nobody's talking about it. As much as I like Michelle Yeoh, I think she's a good actress. I couldn't care less about this show, unfortunately. Beyond television, the Star Trek universe also includes digital content across podcasts, which nobody watches, also websites and social content, as well as the global consumer products in gaming, publishing, collectibles, toys, and apparel. Not so much those last three. collaborators and across all retail channels. They wish they had the merchandise to sell that, the OG Star Trek sells, or Next Generation or Deep Space Nine. You think how many people still love these shows. Kurtzman will continue to work across Viacom CBS divisions to expand all ancillary Trek products. Oh, I bet he will. And will hire a franchise manager to report to him. New York Times at Special Bargain Rates is based on a King short story about a woman receiving a call from her dead husband. Don't know it. Like I said, I've stopped reading King, so I'm going to leave that there. If they're that desperate to push another show in an article about Kurtzman, it can't be that great. And hello to Psychonorth9. Thank you, sweetheart, for joining. Much appreciated. I hope you are having a great day. Thank you so much. And good morning to Loki. That was a great show you did earlier. Loki says, they haven't worn out those knee pads yet. No, not at all. No, if anything, they need to be buying them in bulk for the next 6 years, I think, because there's going to be a lot of ass kissing going on. Renzura says, how apt that Star Trek Discovery's initials are STD. Yes, they really didn't think that one through, did they? And I know they hate people referring it to STD, but tough. That's how we're going to refer to it from now on, forevermore. Nearsighted Cyclops built, more like looted and pillaged. Exactly. They stood on the shoulders of much better shows. They cherry-picked. They destroyed characters. They brought in characters that nobody gave a shit about. And another interesting tidbit. Now, I don't know whether this is because of in light of what's happened with Kurtzman, or whether it's because of what's going on in general, but the Star Trek convention that's coming up next week, almost all of the STD cast have cancelled. So Sidney Martin Green is out, Doug Jones is out. Who else has gone? Pretty much loads of people. Gates McFadden has jumped. LeVar Burton, Raven Dowder has gone. Let's see who else. Hannah Cheeseman is also out. She will no longer be attending. Let's see who else has decided that they don't want to be asked questions. James Frayne is no longer going. Emily Coates has gone. Ojin Alejo is also out, another one of the STD cast. Robert Pine is gone, and so is Michael Dorn. So, interestingly enough, a lot of those has jumped ship. Now, whether or not that had anything to do with the announcement, or whether they just simply don't want to have anything to do with the convention at the moment, I don't know. But I would have thought this would have been the perfect opportunity to kind of really push the idea that there's going to be more of their shows coming. But not gonna happen, guys. Armin says they're so far up the butt they can see out the eyes. Exactly. And good morning, Ords. Good to see you. Hello, sweetheart. Good morning. And Rod Thunderheart, thank you, honey. Whoops, it skipped on me. Let me grab that. Thank you so much. You sent us a $5 Canadian. Says Kurtzman must have pictures of someone high up in CBS. How else do you explain it? Yeah, he's got information on somebody, deal with the devil. Who knows? I give up at this point trying to figure out what's going on. Pod Racing Palpatine as well. Thank you, love. He sent us a $4.99 super chat. He said they should show people the Dark Universe cast photo and tell them Kurtzman killed that project in one film. One film. How he keeps a job. Exactly. That had a massive cast and such potential. And yep, we had The Mummy and it just sank it. Absolutely. And Camper, good to see you, says, not like it matters. Pretty much all of the fans will be from classic Trek. Exactly. I agree. I went to a couple of Star Trek conventions a little while, well, a couple of years ago before the coup happened. And there were huge, huge lines for everybody connected to Deep Space Nine, to the original Star Trek, to Next Generation. But anybody other than Doug Jones connected to STD, they sadly were not popular. I actually felt really bad for them because at the end of the day, they're just actors trying to do a job. They can't help the roles that they're given, but yeah, nobody wanted their autographs, unfortunately. Yep. Oh boy, Dark Universe. Absolutely. Yeah, it could have been great. It's something that I was very, very curious about. Classic Trek will always have a loyal fan base. It will. And also a very forgiving fan base. Had we had a rough first season of Discovery and then they'd taken the criticism on board and, incorporated that, I think we could have had a much better show. I don't hate Sonequa Martin Green by any means. I think she's a pretty good actress, but she's such a boring, one-dimensional character. It's untrue. Pod Racing Palpatine says, "What? Doug Jones has an STD?" He's my favourite actor, Pod Racing Palpatine, and it kills me that he's in this show. But he is still a lovely guy, so I won't hold it too much against him. Man of War 665, Neighbour of the Beast. Hello, good morning, love. It says, Star Trek has become sad wreck. It's dead, Jim. Absolutely. I agree. Nearsighted Cyclops said they made the mummy female. Yes. So many female pharaohs, indeed. Absolutely. I think that was the least of the problems with that show. But I have got another article that I'm actually going to share because I think this one was pretty good, and it gives us a little bit more of an idea of what to expect in the upcoming years. So let me share this one. There it is. So this one is from Inverse, as you can tell. So it says, Star Trek's next 5 years will boldly go where Marvel can't follow. And again, I hate this idea, guys, that the only way that you can kind of get a franchise going is by copying the Marvel template. Marvel did it first. Marvel have done it best. At least they did until, recently. But everybody seems to want this huge, shared universe template, and it just doesn't work. You've got to put in the work. You've got to put in the time and the effort to build this universe. And with Star Trek, we've got 50 years worth of stories of characters that people love, that people have grown up with, that people have, passed on to their kids. And the direction that it's going now, the original fans, they're turning their back on it, and rightly so. So let me just grab a quick drink, guys. There we go. So it starts off in 1996. The film Star Trek First Contact features crossovers from two different Star Trek TV series, Voyager and Deep Space Nine, whilst rebooting a character from the original series in the context of a Next Generation movie. Yeah, it did. Before creating a shared TV and movie continuity was commonplace, Star Trek was boldly going where few had gone before. So why is this implying it's copying the Marvel template? I don't know, but let's see what they say. When considering sprawling TV and movie franchises, Star Trek may never be thought of as the biggest. I don't know, I'd say it's pretty up there, guys. Historically, though, it's been a courageous trailblazer, and yet the series' most recent expansions have generally appealed to small scale next to a powerhouse like Marvel. There's no comparison. You can't compare a beloved long-running sci-fi series, franchise, universe, whatever you want to call it, with comic books. Very, very different, very different. Although there is certain crossover with the fans, a lot of people that within our fandom and in our community, we love comics, we love Star Trek, we love Star Wars, but it's not a great comparison. I've got to stop stopping mid-sentence. And yet the series' most recent expansions have generally appeared small scale next to a powerhouse like Marvel, with its lucrative cinematic universe and Disney Plus expansions. Still, in terms of taking risks and maintaining a variety across its titles, Star Trek is just getting started. God help us. News recently emerged that executive producer Alex Kurtzman has signed a new 5-year deal with Viacom CBS to expand the Final Frontier on Paramount Plus. And details of his upcoming projects there suggest the expanding Trekverse will make the Marvel Cinematic Universe look conventional by comparison. In other words, even if Star Trek won't become bigger than Marvel, it will certainly get weirder. Is that better? And more adventurous with its offerings. Here's why. Apparently, Kurtzman has been holding back. Oh, God. Speaking to the New York Times, Trek's equivalent of Kevin Feige. If it were up to me only, I would be pushing the boundaries much further than I think most people would want. Oh, I think you've pushed them quite far enough, Kurtzman. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Following the announcement that Kurtzman's deal with Viacom CBS will extend for at least 5 more years, at least, guys, 5 more years, into 2026, we're stuck with him forever and a day. The Times writer, Nicole Sperling, noted that Kurtzman's vision for the Trek franchise is to get much weirder compared to what we've thus seen. While comparisons to Marvel's essentially write themselves at this point, I'm not seeing the comparison here, guys. I will check back in the comments in the section and see what you guys are saying. But I think this is a very disingenuous comparison between two huge. It's like Star Trek wants to be like Marvel because I think that's where the money is, but it's not going to happen. Marvel essentially write themselves to this point. A look down Star Trek's transwarp pipeline makes it clear there's little similarity between the MCU and the expanding Trek galaxy, other than both are shared multimedia universes with a rich history. Pretty sure I just said that. Let me skip back, guys, because we've got a little bit more of this to go. The Fixer says, lol, Kurtzman's vision, but Kurtzman is creatively blind, indeed. And hello, Keely Chow, roll tide. Good to see you. Let me roll back up. Chris says, have to admit, the last 3 minutes of Lower Decks was good. Balmir transferred aboard Riker's ship and ignored all incoming messages from Mariner. Yes, I've heard those last couple of minutes were pretty good. I've got to admit, I lost interest watching because the characters were just so dull and boring. And but I've heard that was pretty good. Now, whether the next season is going to keep with those last 3 minutes is anybody's guess. I'm going to say probably not. I think we're going to fall back into the same formula that we had with most of the season. I think those last 3 minutes were just kind of like the cherry on top, or the little shine, little highlight of the season. Mark, no. Yep, sorry, Mark. We've got a MCU Star Trek comparison, which really isn't a comparison. Darth Hasta says, the one thing I don't want to see. I fully agree with you, Hasta. Yeah, I don't want to see it either. and hello, The Last Hope. He says, so it's going to be Star She You then. Indeed, yes. Run Zero, Star Trek's not considered one of the biggest. It's one of the biggest sci-fi franchises ever. or certainly used to be. Absolutely, yes. Like I say, when they got their hands on the Star Trek, it had a built-in fan base that were ready to support anything that they brought out. All they had to do was one, respect the fans, and two, respect what came before. But no, they had to, build on JJ's Kelvin universe and subvert expectations. Just incidentally, you guys were talking in the chat earlier about the thumbnail that I used. One, I used that picture because I think it's one, it was the most up to date, and two, it kind of encapsulates everything wrong with modern day Trek. Kurtzman sitting in the captain's seat and lots of lens flare. So that's why I went with that picture. Mark says, here's an idea. Bring Mackenzie Calhoun to the main Star Trek canon. Have Peace David as a scripts supervisor. Oh, I think that would definitely help. Absolutely. Chris says, most likely get another season of meandering nothingness. Yeah, if you mean Lower Decks, I think that's going to be the case. I think the other animated series that's coming, I think it's Nickelodeon based, if I remember correctly from the other article. I think it's going to be very kiddie. I don't think it's going to appeal to the general, audience. Snorter Pooper said new Trek went off the cliff with George Kirk's old Corvette in 2009. You're not wrong. JJ, another show, indeed. Right, let's dive back into this weird article. But oh god, they use the word stands. While Marvel stands will tell you that Loki and WandaVision are as different as it gets. Yeah, they were both crap. Both series led to a similar ending. Yeah, they disappointed fans and aesthetically ended up looking very similar to each other. A certain template feels abounds across the MCU, and while visual and tones can vary from one film to film. For example, Thor: The Dark World versus Thor: Ragnarok. Each film and series thus far has been built to appeal to the same core audience, a core audience that is now abandoning it in droves because they're not enjoying the TV shows, and Black Widow didn't hit any of the right notes with people. Star Trek is the opposite. Lower Decks viewers might overlap with the audience for the other Trek series, but it's easier to imagine people who solely watch Picard. Or newer recruits mainly invested in Discovery. Marvel's not really like this, telling audiences repeatedly how important it is that they watch every successive film and series. Yeah, they did that with Captain Marvel and sandwiched it between two of the biggest films in the MCU just to get people to watch it, and told them that, if you don't watch this film, you won't know what's going on. They lied. Star Trek locks its audience into no such implicit contract. You can watch whatever you want, and you're not going to feel hopelessly confused if you skip a show or two. I can think of a show or two to skip. Anything with Kurtzman's name attached. As Kurtzman said earlier this year, our goal is not to make it so insular that you haven't seen the show you're lost when you watch another show. Star Trek also has one weapon at its disposal that the MCU can't match: a vast library of about 800 hours of various shows that precede the newer 21st century push from 1966 to 2005. Across different series exists a wellspring of talent, yes it did, in front and behind the screen. Yeah, you should have tapped into that. Though Star Trek is currently unified as one brand, like Marvel, it's taken more risks because it had to in order to flourish across different decades. That I would agree with. Star Trek has always been about pushing new ideas, but it never did it in a way that patronized its audience. People say that, it was always political. Yes, it was. but it wasn't so on the nose that it was abrasive to people, that it put people off. And it never had characters so unlikable as the ones that we currently have. You know, where did I get to? It has taken more risks because it had to, in order to flourish across the different decades. Star Trek is scrappier than the DCEU or the MCU because it's been around longer and is still looking for ways to expand and enrich its universe. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Renzero says Star Trek was political. It didn't bash you on the head with it. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It never talked down to its audience. You know, people, it was subtle, and that's why, you know, it works so well. Camp says I picked the wrong line of work. I could be a journalist, in quotations. I could just spout incredulous garbage and make money. Damn. I say go for it. Do it. Do it, Camper. Last Hope says that last picture's not very diverse. Yes, I noticed that as well. There's definitely a theme running in that last picture. Hollywood folk lied. Must be a day ending in Y again. Exactly. Hollywood broke entertainment. Indeed. And good morning, Rookie Critic. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good day. And thank you, Kaylee. She says, bash that like button. Absolutely. Please do. Right, where did we get to? Okay, although continuity is important to a certain group of fans, what the newer shows are proving is the elasticity of Trek's canon. Canon should never be elastic. Canon is established. You know, you can't play with what's gone before. This isn't something that you can, you know, cherry pick from. If it happened, it happened. You know, you follow the timeline. You follow what was set in stone by much better series than the ones that you're trying to write at the moment. In the new Time story, President of CBS Studios, David Staff, said, anything goes, as long as it can fit into Star Trek ethos of inspiration, optimism, and the general idea that humankind is good. So, comedy, adult animation, kids animation, you name the genre, there's probably a Star Trek version of it. So all that's saying to me, guys, is if you throw enough crap at the wall, something is going to stick eventually. This is a very kind of, we don't exactly know where we're going with this, but we're going to try everything. You know, we're going to try comedy, we're going to try animation, we're going to try drama with Picard. We're going to bring in all these, you know, next-gen actors to try and prop it up because we've really failed and killed off the main character. Yeah, that was brilliant. The elasticity is key to differentiating Star Trek from the MCU or Star Wars. At the end of the day, Marvel stories have to be about superheroes and supervillains. And even when that trope is subverted, there's that word again, it still feels pretty much the same. Well, the new Trek feels pretty much the same. It's disappointing to fans. Star Trek has a 55-year track record of striking out in fresh directions. Deep Space Nine wasn't set on a space station. What the hell are you talking about? Yes, it was. And featured little trekking in its early seasons. It was absolutely set on a space station. That's what Deep Space Nine is. Discovery didn't focus on a captain. No, it focused on Michael Burnham. Outside of conventionally heroic narrative arcs, Star Trek Picard is mostly centered on characters who are everyday civilians. Yes, in a show called Picard. Star Trek's brand is higher than canon and continuity. Disagree. Nothing is higher than canon and continuity, and this is the crux of the matter. This is why it's failing. This is why the fans will not get behind it. It's even bigger than established characters. As expansive as the MCU can feel, the majority of its characters are adapted from pre-existing comic books. Star Trek, on the other hand, has invented over 40 new characters in the past 5 years alone. Yeah, name them. Name 5. And one of them can't be Michael Burnham. Even Stranger Trek's now with more Worf. So, what are the new weird iterations of Star Trek coming in the next 5 years? Here's a glimpse at the road ahead. So, 2021, as we know, we've got season 2 of Lower Decks, we've got season 4 of Discovery, God help me, and the first season of Prodigy, which we haven't actually heard that much about. So I'm expecting to hear more next week at the convention, but time will tell on that one, I guess. 2022 brings us Strange New Worlds and Picard Season 2. 2023, I love this, some kind of new feature film. Possibly the Section 31 that they keep talking about but doesn't seem to materialise. And probably Discovery Season 5. If ever a show didn't deserve a 5th season, or even a 2nd season, it's STD. After 2024 and beyond, a Starfleet Academy series, and interestingly, a series about Worf. Now, this one I didn't know about. I would be curious if this is because Michael Dorn wants more screen time because of he's seen what happened with Patrick Stewart. I'd be curious as to know the background of that one. Towards the end of the Times profile, Kurtzman brings up a recent pitch from Gray and Wagner, who did Portlandia and Silicon Valley, centered on the character of Worf that he calls incredibly funny, poignant, and touching. Yeah, because that's exactly what I think of when I think of the stoic Klingon warrior, Worf. In addition to all the other, God damn it, I thought that said desperate Trek projects. I wish it did. A Portlandia writer wants to do some kind of a comedy series about Worf. God, I can hardly wait. Whether or not this will happen is unclear, but I think the fact that these Trek franchises even thinking along these lines is shocking. Me too. Yeah. Anybody else hear the sound of a barrel being scraped? The franchise isn't being built in a vacuum. WandaVision director Matt Shakman is reportedly directing the next Star Trek movie. I really hoped Tarantino was going to do a Star Trek movie just to really flip things. In Star Trek The Next Generation's final episode, Captain Picard sat down at a poker table and said, "The sky's the limit." If you're placing bets on which geek franchise will still be strong, stable, and wacky, yeah, that's just what we need, a wacky Star Trek series. As hell, 50 years from now, history tells us that the smart money is on Trek. Disagree if it's still going to be attached to Paramount and CBS, but time indeed will tell on that one. So let me skip back, guys, because you have been incredibly generous. So a massive thank you to you for all of your super chats and stickers. Let me grab these. So we have got a $2 super sticker from Mr. Tickle Trunk. Hello, love. Good to see you. Let me scroll up and see which one it was. Whoops. It was. Oh, it's a Shiba Inu with the hearts. Thank you, sweetheart. Much appreciated. And Rookie Critic sends us a $5 super chat. Thank you, sweetheart. It says, "Good morning. Good morning to you. Sometimes franchises just need to end, or they should revive Food Fight while they're at it." I agree. I think Star Trek is definitely heading in the way that Doctor Who is going. I think it needs a long hiatus. I think we need a break from Star Trek at this point. Armin says canon is absolutely. I agree with that. You know, if you don't respect what came before it, then you've got nothing to build on. Colin says, whoops, it skipped on me. Colin says, Star Trek has an ethos of inspiration, optimism, and humanity is good. Not now, it doesn't. Indeed, now it's wacky, because that's what you think of when you think of Star Trek. Absolutely. Everybody is abandoning canon, even those WOTC saying D&D canon doesn't matter. Now, Must be a trend I'm not aware of. Indeed, it seems that the only people that are screaming to say that canon is important is the fans. It's the long-term people that love these shows. Rookie Critic again, thank you, honey. He says, take the like button out for a coffee, but tell it you forgot your wallet, so it has to pay for it. Thank you, hun. Much appreciated. And hello, Darren Prowess. Good afternoon. He said, Star Trek? More like Star Wreck. What a kicking the guts for fandom after the joyous news about Chibnall and Whittaker. I know. It's a real roller coaster to be a fan of anything at the moment. And I know a lot of people are very kind of cautious about the news of Chibnall and Whittaker, because obviously you're now stepping into the unknown. But surely what we will be getting is better than what we have. But unfortunately, with Star Trek, we're getting more of what we have now, and I think that's getting people very nervous. But of course, we'll still be called ists and phobes and toxic fans. So what does it matter at this point? And let's see what else you guys are saying. Thank you, Psycho Dwarf Sweetheart. He sends us a $5 super chat. He says, we're going to try everything but honouring the spirit and quality stories. Indeed, like I say, it is a case of just throw enough crap at the wall and something will stick. Something's got to resonate with people. Something's got to grab people's attentions. And I don't know what that is, but they seem very desperate to try everything at this stage. Alvin says, Worf is Will Scarlet, the only thing I like about this article. Indeed. It made me smile as well to see it. I'm not a merry man. Love that episode. And I like Michael Dorn. I do. I think he's a good actor, but really, do we need a wacky comedy with Worf? I don't think so. He works so well in Deep Space Nine because he was true to his character and they fleshed out the character. Keely says, God help us. Wise words, Keely, indeed. And Chris says, thanks to Kurtzman, I'm similar to Worf in that image. I'm not a merry man, indeed. Last Hope says 40 characters that's segregated and didn't speak. Indeed, yeah. Pop quiz, guys. Can you name the entire bridge crew of Discovery? Because I sure as hell can't. I can describe them, but I can't name them. Not the actors or the characters that they played. Which is really bad considering we're about to have a fourth season of the show. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Paris says Ambassador Worf. Yuck. Indeed. Project Storytime. Oh, joy. A chance to cook Worf. Indeed. Another beloved character. Now, I'm pretty sure that he's coming back in season 2 of Picard as well. I know Whoopi Goldberg is coming back because she was invited on. We've got John Delancey obviously joining as Q, who I'm really hoping within the first 5 minutes of the show just snaps his fingers and erases everything. It's not going to happen, but that's what would have happened if I had written the show. Renzero says Michael Dorn is 68 years old. Not sure if Old Man Worf will work, to be honest. Well, that's one of the problems that we had with Patrick Stewart as Picard. Now I like Patrick Stewart. I think he's a great actor, but he sounds so old and he looks so tired in this series. And even in the trailer that was released for season 2, he sounds defeated. He sounds like he doesn't want to be here anymore. He clearly doesn't care about the character that has done so much for him and his career over the years. It's really sad to see. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Mr. Tickle Trunk, thank you again, honey. Much appreciated. He sends us a $5 super chat. It says, subvert equals verb. To undermine the power of authority and, usually, an established system of institution. Adjective, disruptive, insurgent, mutinous. Indeed. Absolutely. Absolutely. They do not care. just reading that article that we just had a look at, it's clear that all they care about is the idea of building this huge multi-platform franchise. If they are trying to emulate the MCU, they will fail with it because it's comparing apples to oranges. I know that they were talking about the games as well when they added the SDD characters to the Star Trek Online. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to play as them. And you couldn't not use them. That was the problem. You couldn't get rid of them after it. They were just there. Sewer Conan says, Papa Valkyrie, I discovered a little while ago that Michael Dorn was a regular in Chips. I did not know that. I've got to admit, I like Michael Dorn. You know, I love Worf as a character, but we'll see. Adega, thank you, Adega. So it says, having spent a bit of time making sure stories have continuity and accuracy, I don't know how those who work on older series incarnations can keep quiet. Train wrecks need to have the details exposed. Well said, Adega, absolutely. I think, as Adega said, had I been a writer, had I been an actor on these older series, I would not be happy to see the legacy of this, franchise swirling the drain at this point. And looking at where they're going, the whole idea of this could get wacky, guys, this could get silly, does not fill me with confidence. I think over the next few years, we're going to get some very odd Star Trek shows. And I would be absolutely curious to see if we do get the Section 31 show that they keep dangling in front of people. Chris Persia, thank you, honey. Much appreciated. He sends us a 10 Canadian super chat. Kurtzman said Star Trek is no longer about Star Trek, but a platform for them to promote their ideas. Feige said the MCU will no longer be bound by canon. Seems the future of entertainment is bleak. Absolutely. And it's across the board. There is no escape from this anymore, no matter what you're a fan of. Star Trek, Doctor Who, Star Wars, Discworld, comic books, tabletop gaming. It is everywhere and it is invasive. The things that people loved, the things that gave them a little bit of escape, you can't get away from now. It's this whole idea of things have to change, It's not about respecting the law anymore. It's about pushing an idea and an ideology. Mark's able to name a few of them. He says Saru, a plank of wood, Tilly cheesecake, a bunch of women, and 2 cocked guys. That's more than I can name, so my hat is off to you on that one, Mark. Oh my gosh. Snorter Pooper says, sadly, even Nimoy wound up as a sellout to JJ. Yeah, I was very sad to see him. Well, I wasn't sad to see him, reprise Spock, because people love Spock, but to see him in those films, and yeah, it was very sad, unfortunately. He deserved better. And Nearsighted Cyclops says, based on Marvel's comics is putting out these days, not being bound by canon might not be a bad thing. Indeed. Unfortunately, guys, as we have seen, let me get this one before I say goodbye. Project Storytime says, Klingons live far longer than humans. Worf should be slightly past his prime compared to the old Picard. Dawn is too old to play Worf in this timeline. Indeed, he is. And I can't imagine that he would allow Worf to be recast by anybody. So it's going to be really odd to see. Renzura says, nobody plays Star Trek Online, so no loss there. I thought that was the case nowadays, yes. But guys, it looks like the future is bleak / wacky and fun, depending on which way you want to look at it. For Star Trek fans, there is no getting away from Kurtzman. He is here to stay for at least the next 5 years. On the plus side, it gives us content creators and YouTubers plenty to talk about, and no doubt be called names for the next 5 years because we're not liking what's coming out. I would absolutely love for them to bring out something that we could rave about, but you judge a horse on the races it's run, and so far Kurtzman has been crap. He well deserved the name Klutzman, and I can't see it changing anytime soon. And Project Storytime's nailed it. It's dead, Jim. Indeed. Absolutely. So a massive, massive thank you to everybody who joined me today. You guys are the best as always. You were on fire in the chat. So thank you guys. Thank you to everybody who sent super chats and super stickers. And a big, big thank you to Psychodor for joining. Much appreciated, guys. Love you all. You are the best. Well done to Kaylee. She had a fantastic interview with Loki this morning. So well done to the two of them. Really enjoyed listening to it. I will be back Friday, as always, 10 a.m. Central. Haven't quite decided what I'm going to do, but might be having something a little bit more fun. I think a little bit more lighthearted for Friday to end the week. So, guys, have a fantastic rest of the day. I will be back later on this evening on Mornings of Mischief for the game stream. Hope to see you guys there. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. And have a wonderful day. Or, as I say, you guys are the best. Take care.